Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Mohammed Asif Raza here, and in today's video, I have with me Mr. Adam Posner, all the way from New York City. Sir, thank you so much for joining in. Kindly give a brief introduction about yourself.
Mohammed, thank you so much for having me, and hello to any new fans and new friends I'm meeting all across the world. I absolutely love it. My name is Adam Posner. I am the manager and managing director and founder of NHP Talent Group. We are a boutique staffing consultancy located here in New York. We specialize in all things marketing and media, and we work closely with brands, agencies, and hypergrowth startups to help them expand their talent. I am also host of the podcast, the Top Global Career Podcast, all about featuring leaders from the world of business, marketing, and personal growth to help others harness their own inner tenacity to drive their careers forward.
Well, that's a very positive gesture of you that you're helping people around the world through your podcast. So now, as discussed earlier, we will be discussing about entrepreneurship. So the first question here is that how can students think of new ideas that have value in the market? Because idea is very, very important while it is a startup. So how will you suggest about this?
How students should evaluate ideas? Is that the question?
Yes, is that's
It's
question.
it always starts with solving a problem, and I think
Yes.
that's really what it is. And no problem could be too big or too small. I mean, we've seen ideas, blossom from small little kernels, little pieces of ideas. Look at Uber, where it started from. A better idea to share car rides. It's turned into, $1 trillion business. We look at other ideas like food startups, something as simple as delivery, how to get something from one place to another. So it all starts with solving a problem. And remember, it doesn't always have to be a new problem. It could be a current problem that's maybe not being solved in the best possible way, or another way to solve that existing problem.
Okay, that's a very good answer by you. But there is a problem that if there's a conflict between your passion and what is needed in the market, then would you be sticking to your passion or would you changing your career according to the need in the market?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think there's a balance there, and it really depends on where you are in your life and your life cycle as an entrepreneur. I think that if you have the ability financially and time-wise to truly follow your passion, you always should, but you have to be pragmatic and find that balance to be sure that you're solving a problem that will be able to take care of you financially and be able to support you and be a feasible idea as well, too. Sometimes our passions are so far out of there. I mean, listen, not everybody is Elon Musk who says we could go to Mars and be able to make it happen. That's Elon Musk. He's in a position to say that now because he's amassed immense success and wealth where he could actually make that happen. So be realistic.
Yes, be realistic. That's the main thing to focus on. But talking about you and me, for example, personally me, that I do podcast. Like I interview people around the world. I have done interviews with about 9+ countries, from people from 9+ countries. So how can we convert this into a business? And what would be your suggestion? Like you're already running this podcast, then what would be your suggestion about this kind of a business?
With the podcast, how to turn
Yes,
the
with the
podcast into a
podcast,
business.
yes.
Well, a great way. Well, one of the things about my podcast, I look back and I've interviewed almost 200 folks over the last two years. And for me, that is a masterclass.
Yes.
That is 200 plus hours of content. That content could be chopped up into segments and put into different types of courses. And you could take all that content and reposition it into and monetize it into something else where other people are paying for it and gaining value.
Yes. But there is a problem. How can we get that better reach when it comes to views? Because mostly people don't like these kinds of podcasts. You have to reach that right audience for yourself. Because people, they tune into YouTube for entertainment. So it's important to focus that right audience for you.
Right. Well, it's all about finding the right audience because there's an audience for everything. There's an audience that is yearning for education, learning, mindset, all those pieces too. So you don't have to have a broad reach. I always say, my friend, inch wide, mile deep. The riches are in the niches. You have all these people that are passionate about what you're trying to promote or sell or teach. Those are the folks that you should go after and engage deeply with them instead of trying to reach out to everybody. You'll find your audience.
Yes, very well said. Moving on to the next question, that is, how can we earn that initial money for our startup investment? Because startup investment is very, very important as well. So, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, I was taught by a mentor of mine to not ask for external funding until you absolutely need it. Do not ask for external funding until you've exhausted your own internal resources. Because once you're asking for external funding, you're diluting the value, your own value that you hold there. And also, don't go out for external funding until you're at a point where there's product is actually real and tangible, because then it's a tremendous risk. And I know it's a tough balance, and some people say that's counterintuitive out there, but do everything you can in your power to fund your startup, self-fund it as best you can until you get
Yes.
to that breaking point.
Yes, very well described. That's a very good point you raised. So moving on to the next question, that is, how can we create a perfect business plan? Because obviously we need to write everything which we're doing, because business plan is something very, very important, which I consider as a student. So what are your thoughts about creating a business plan, and what aspects an entrepreneur should keep in mind while creating a business plan?
Well, you said something, you said the word perfect, and I think perfect is a highly unattainable goal. I think action over perfection, and that's what
Yes,
I do.
actionable. Yes.
I always keep moving the needle forward. I don't strive for perfection. I strive for action. The more volume, the more activity, the more things I can make happen, the more failures I could get out of the way quicker. That's going to define my business plan. Never strive for perfection. And what we write down or in our heads, or what we write down on paper on the computer, it's something to hold us accountable. It's never going to be exactly that in the end, but it's something we could look back on and say, am I going in the right direction? Am I striving towards the goals that I had, months and years ago? And am I going down the right path?
Yes, very well described. So moving on to the last question, that is, how can we stay connected with high profile entrepreneurs? Because obviously we need that help from experienced people who have already done that kind of a business. So what would you say about this?
Right. It's consistent engagement. And I talk about it a lot, that my network is my net worth. And my network is worth less if I don't nurture it, if I don't water the seeds, if I don't mind my garden, if I don't continue to connect and add value to my mentors and the people that motivate me to keep that relationship and conversation moving forward. So it takes work, and it can't be one side, Mohammed. It has to be a balance. And it's not always going to be, all the value here, it's not always going to be equal, because right, if someone has a lot more experience than you, how much value can you give them? But you would be surprised how much a mentor will learn by having a mentee. It brings out different sides of them that open up different portals into their success.
Well, yes, there's a problem. Like a counter question is that the LinkedIn, those who have so many followers, and they receive many messages. So it is important to have that effectiveness of message, so that they will respond to you, that right people will respond to you. So what would you say about this? That how can we build a strong network on LinkedIn?
It's about engagement. It absolutely is about engagement. And something really important I want to call out. Just because somebody has a huge follower base,
Yes.
that does not mean they're an expert. That doesn't mean they're authentic. That doesn't mean they're an authority on anything that they're talking about. It's up to everyone's individual responsibility to do their due diligence and say, this person is successful because they have social proof. They have real clients, they have real business, they have real success, and they're not just good at adding followers. That doesn't make somebody an influencer or an expert. And I always say this, be influential. Don't aim to be an influencer. Other people could call you an influencer. Once you start calling yourself an influencer, my friend, it's all out
Yes.
of the water.
Yes. But it is, I have seen this. Many people ignore messages. Many people don't respond. And even after trying constantly, it is very important. Yes.
It's
Yes,
a
please.
volume game, right? It's a
Yes.
volume game, right? You have to see these people with tens, hundred thousands of followers. They're
Yes.
getting bombarded with direct messages all day. So
Yes.
how do you stand out? Do you try sending them a video message? Do you sound an audio message? Do you create some kind of cool piece of content that's value add to them? You have to stand out and differentiate in that messaging stream.
Yes, very well described. That was a very good answer, last one. So that concludes our dialogue. Is there any message you want to convey to people here in Pakistan at the end of this conversation?
Well, Pakistan, thank you so much for allowing me to come and introduce
Yes.
myself. Everyone could follow me at
Yes.
thepodcast.com. I interview great entrepreneurs and business leaders. And I'm also thankful and grateful, Mohammed. Thank you so much for having me on. I
Well, it's a
appreciate you, my
pleasure.
man.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time. Goodbye, sir.